Alright everyone, welcome back to Skyrim Legendary Edition. We are going to be installing SexLab Framework. Before we get started, I just want to say if you're going to leave a comment like touch grass or anything along those lines, why would you ruin the game? You're getting banned, alright? If you go to Nexus and you check the most endorsed mods, the most downloaded mods, it's always some female follower that's like basic but super sexualized or something along those lines. I could make a mod that has a whole bunch of added cells, nav meshing, NPCs, scripting, quest, and it wouldn't get half the amount of downloads as if I uploaded some basic generic follower. All right? It's not my fault, it's yours. So let's get started. So the first thing you're going to need is the Skyrim SexLab Animation Framework 1.62. This is for Skyrim Legendary Edition. You could pretty much follow the same method if you're using Special Edition. Just make sure you get the Special Edition downloads. So, brief introduction. What is SexLab Animation Framework going to do? It's just pretty much the framework for allowing your character and NPCs to engage in adult-themed contexts, like sexual animations. All right. So, first thing you're going to need is the Skyrim script extender. You should pretty much have this for anything. All right, just get it. It's just going to make the game better. Even if you don't even use mods, you should just get this. Then you're going to need Forge's new idle animation system, aka FNIS, and we recently just made a video on how to install that. So if you want to go and look at that video, you can do that. We also made a video on how to install Nemesis. Go and check that out as well. You can either use Nemesis or FNIS. Don't use both at the same time. Either one will work just fine. You're going to need this in order to trigger the animations. FNIS can use the creature pack. Nemesis cannot. So you can engage in, sexual animations with creatures like giants, trolls, spiders, etc. But only if you have FNIS and you download the creature pack. So Nemesis users cannot use that. All right. So Sky UI, everybody and a mama should have this mod. All right. So make sure you get that. And you're going to need a skeleton like XP32 or with this one. And the unofficial Skyrim Legendary Edition patch isn't required, but you should probably just get it because it fixes things. Like, I know one problem I had for sure was not being able to sit on a bench in a Bannered Mare, and this mod fixed that for me. Alright, so let's go ahead and download these things. So, get your SexLab framework. The full version right here, 1.62. I'm not going to download it because I already downloaded it, but make sure you get this. Then, after you get that, make sure you come over to the script extender. It's on Nexus. And here's the FNIS, which we downloaded recently. All right, so, okay, so look. Here we are at my mod manager. And I have the XP32 maximum skeleton extended. So, in case you want to know exactly which skeleton I'm using. This one, you can find it on the Nexus. I'll try to post a link for it in the description. And we have SexLab Framework. These are other mods. I will go over these in the future. But this is the framework. And this is all you need. This is going to come with some basic animations in it installed. And we'll go over that a little bit. And I'm going to be running Nemesis for this one, okay? You can run FNIS or you can run Nemesis. So once you have your skeleton installed, you have your SexLab installed, and you have your script extender installed, then you want to open your Nemesis or FNIS, and then you want to update it and generate it. So I'm going to go to Update Engine, and just wait for it a little bit. It doesn't take long. Okay, once it is done, you don't have to worry about clicking anything in here. It doesn't come with any of those like extra patches. And then you just launch Nemesis behavior and then wait for all your animations to load. And then you should start seeing some of the, there you go, like some of the SexLab animation stuff in here. and wait for it to finish. Okay, so here's your animations, some of the SexLab stuff, and the skeleton. All right, so just close that. Then what you do is you jump in game. So I'm gonna switch over to NVIDIA and we're gonna start this up. All right, so here we are in game. You want to hit start and then go to your MCM and then scroll down until you see SexLab. And if you don't see it, just wait for a while before it pops up, because sometimes it takes a few minutes before it actually shows up in your MCM, so don't worry about it. Now, uh, the mod can sometimes install itself if you take too long to install it, or if you load up a game after already having this installed and then saving it. Like you save it with this mod installed and then you load it. Upon loading, it will install itself. But you can just go to it immediately, and then you go right here to hit this install button on the right. After it says working, you just back up out of the MCM, and then you can see to the left here, it will say it's installing the voices, the expressions, and everything else. And then it will actually let you know when it's complete. It doesn't take long. Alright, so there it is. SexLab version 1.62 is ready. So once it is ready, you can go back into the MCM menu, and then I'll go over a few things with you. The diary, this is basically going to keep record of the amount of times that you engaged in this activity, and who is your most used partner, and you know what type of sexuality you have depending on what partners that you choose throughout your adventure. Animation settings. Now in here you have a few things. You can have auto advanced stages. So a lot of animations have stages. Like, you know, it'll be like they're doing like some foreplay, then there's like, you know, some normal things, and then maybe it goes to like a hardcore and then a climax and stuff like that. By default, it'll do it automatically on its own. But if you want, you can uncheck this and then it'll only advance the stages once you hit the space bar, I believe. So, allow creature animations. That's for creatures. We'll cover that in another video. It depends if there's enough demand for it. And disable victim controls. This is more like for when you're using like the R word. I'm not gonna say it, but yeah, when you're using stuff for that, that's what this is for. Automatic free camera. This is basically going to toggle free camera. Basically, it's going to activate the TFC command once an animation begins, so you can just move the camera around, zoom in and out while the animation is playing. So by default, that's not on, but you know you can just check it on if you want. And this is the speed of the camera, in which how fast it moves around. Player gender. I don't even know why this is a thing. Your player gender is determined from race menu, but I guess that's their experiment with that if you want. And then these are pretty self-explanatory. Race, gender, specific adjustments. You know, kind of like shrinks the characters or grows the characters in place to make sure that the animations fit properly. And then you have lip sync animations, which will try to lip sync the characters' like mouth up with the moans and groans that play during the animation. It'll try to, you know, do that. Apply facial expressions. This will, you know, give the characters facial expressions while the animations is going on. It's self-explanatory, okay? Now this, use come effects. This is basically going to add some overlays to your character's body once the animations are finished, and then you can actually adjust how long these things will remain on your body. By default, it's here for 120 seconds. So you could also turn the setting on for if there's two females involved with each other, and if you still want overlays to appear on your body once the animation is finished. Limited stripping. NPCs use beds. This is pretty much if you have a mod that allows two NPCs to do it with each other. whether or not they will use the beds. So you could just, you could turn this on sometimes, never, always. You can adjust that. This ask for bed use is basically once you cast the animation on a desired partner and there's a bed nearby, it will actually ask you, do you want to use the nearby bed? And you can choose yes or no. If you choose yeah, your character and the partner that you chose will walk over to the bed, and then you'll do your animations in the bed. If you choose no, your character will just do it right there on the floor. All right. So we have restrict aggressive animations. So yeah, once again, the R word. If you don't want to have those type of animations, you could check this on. Uh, Foreplay, if you want that on, turn that. Undress animation. You can actually have the characters play an animation when they're taking their clothes off before actually engaging in the animation. And you can have it for redressing as well. So once the animation is finished, the characters will actually play animations for like putting their boots back on and things like that. Females use strap-ons. If you're a female or your partner is a female and you're doing it with another female, they will use strap-ons. So clear high heels height. This will basically disable like the height that you gain from high heels while the animation is playing. No standing on beds. Stop the standing on the beds. Sometimes I still see this happen even with this check, but it's very rare. And then new. I never use these. The suits. I guess this is basically like custom bodies that basically get equipped to your character's body during the animation. Experiment with that if you want. And then over here we have voices and sound effects. This is all pretty self-explanatory. Timers and stripping. From right here, you could determine which items that you actually want to strip when you're doing the animations. For example, I think by default, if you try to, use an animation, your character will take off their wig. Like if you're wearing like one of those SMP wigs, they will take it off. So, you have to make sure that you turn this, uncheck that, if you don't want them to take it off. I think there's two of them. Yeah, there's like long hair, there's hair. Sometimes hair takes up the circuit slot as well, so you might want to uncheck that. All right. So yeah, it's just for if you're into that. If you want to do it and keep your shoes on, if you want to do it and keep your shirt on, that's basically what this is for. So toggle animations. This is basically all the type of animations that you could toggle on and off. I'm not even going to leave that on the page for too long because it has some profanity on it. But basically, those are the type of animations. If you don't want, cowgirl, back shots, whatever, toggle it on and off. Animation editor. This is pretty much you can adjust certain things like this. Look, self-explanatory. I'm not gonna say it out loud, but that's what that's for. And then the expression editor is like basically the intensity of the character's like orgasm face or their smiling face, their bedroom face, things like that. And the strip item editor, this is basically you can edit. I'm not exactly sure what this one does, to be honest. I'm not even gonna lie. And then rebuild and clean, this is basically what you can use for just stop the current animations. You can also see what current animation is playing. You can also import and export your settings, so this way you don't have to readjust them every time you start a new game. You can just import your settings that you saved. And so yeah, that's pretty much that. Here you have available strap-ons. If you have like additional mods, you could change like which type of things that they will use, make it look more like a human one or a plastic one, things like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the settings on this mod. Now, once you have everything set up, you actually want to check your spell menu and you want to scroll over to illusion. You're going to have two spells. You're going to have SexLab Self and you're going to have SexLab Target. Now, the Self one is something that's for like animations, like if you want to do it with yourself. Like you know, if you want to rub it out, if you want to stroke it out in a corner or something like that, that's what the self is for. However, it's not going to work by default. You're going to need like a separate animation mod that includes those type of animations, right? The sasturbation animations. All right. So the target one is the one that you actually want to use on your partner. So what you do is you take the spell and you go up to somebody and you cast it on them.
Is
Okay?
it absolutely necessary for you to bother
After
me
you
right
cast it
now?
on them, see, now it's going to ask you if you want to use the nearby bed. And you could just choose yeah or no. If I choose
Pardon me, my
no, they're
lady.
going to do it right
Would you
here.
care
If
to
I
get me
choose
through my
yes,
loop?
they will actually walk over to the nearby bed. And the current animation that's going to play will pop up in the top left. So I'm obviously going to
Out
censor
with
that.
it. Oh.
So the characters will start doing things. You'll hear the sounds and stuff like that. Let you hear it really quickly. All right.
You don't look. Huh?
So once that's finished, that's pretty much it. And as you can
So
see
what do you
on my
want?
clothes, I got the overlays. You know, the baby batter right there, the X's and Y's. All right. So that's
Need
pretty much
something?
how that works. Now, oh, it's on her mouth there a little bit too. Hey. So now how this works is when you use this on somebody, you're always going to be the one that's getting pounded out. Okay? Even if you're a guy. If I'm a guy and I go up to a girl and I cast this spell on her, she's actually going to equip a plastic ding dong and she's going to pound me with that. And we don't want that. So, or, you know, some of you might want that. You know, I'm not going to judge. But you're basically going to need a separate animation for that, and I'll cover that in like a separate video. But that's basically how you use SexLab Framework and its default animations and settings. All right, so you can find this on Lovers Lab. I cannot put the link for this in the description because it'll get me in trouble. All right, it's not easy to find. A quick Google search will find it for you. So leave a like if this helped you out, or if you want to support me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.